Do you think DBD is competitive? Is sweating a real thing? Is it possible to play to win and play for fun at the same time? Is Skull Merchant secretly an S-tier killer? Let's talk about it. So today we're going over the topic of whether or not DBD is a competitive multiplayer game, or a multiplayer game with more of a focus on the cooperative thematic experience, or maybe a little of both. In being someone who has played the game for what feels like an eternity, I really feel like it's honestly all of these things. It is you versus another player, so in that alone, there has to be some level of competition, right? But it's also a game that's about killers trying to kill or sacrifice, as well as survivors trying to escape, so there's definitely a heavy emphasis on teamwork and strategy, which would tie in the cooperative thematic element. I mean, you're playing as all your favorite, some of your favorite killers and, movie icons, and some of your favorite survivors from, who are also movie icons, as well as characters from other video games, of course. But within that, there's the most important part, which, not to sound kind of corny, but the most important part is fun, on both sides. Are you having fun trying to escape the chase? Are you having fun hunting down the survivors? I think it's possible to do those things while still competing with each other. But with that said, let's go over some of the topics that play into the whole competition side of things. So my first topic is about playing to win. I think this goes into what I was, kind of getting at in the beginning, which is, I would say, anytime it's you versus another player or another team, you're gonna do things so that you win. Now, depending on how you do that, I don't really think that's grounds for a mean in-game chat or throwing the game or DCing, because the other side is trying to win. I mean, that's their entire job, is to try and win. You want to have fun, but it's a multiplayer game. If you're killer, there's no one else on your team. If you're survivor, the killer's not on your team, so I know that's obvious, but I just feel like that's kind of how this can kind of be looked at. So with that, you'll do things. So, you'll have a team that will bring, like, say you got survivors that bring a lot of their better perks, or, their better perks and their better add-ons. They may be, swift, so they're communicating with each other. You're doing that, because you're wanting to win, and I don't think there's anything wrong with that. And as killer, you're doing the exact same thing. You have the responsibility of watching everything that goes on in the trial. So you're going to bring your best add-ons. You're gonna bring your best perks. You're gonna play with your favorite killer. The thing about this is, well, where does the fun part? Everybody doesn't want to play like that. What if I don't want to play like that? And I would say that's the beauty of it, is that it's all of these things happening at once. And I think that's why, we have these different debates or these different discussions about, well, I think this is that way, or I think it shouldn't be this way, because everyone's gonna play the game a little differently. But as far as playing to win, I think that, of course, doing something within reason, if you're, I'll bring my, my better perks and my better add-ons, because I'm trying to get it, on average, I want to have fun. I'm not necessarily going into the game like, I need to have 4 kills. I'm not really doing that, but my objective is to stop you from doing gens, stop you from healing, stop you from escaping and everything. So I'm gonna do things to the best of my ability to be able to do that. And of course, I also want to say though that if another killer is just coming into the match, really not caring about how many kills they get, that is also 100% okay. Everyone is playing the games for slightly different reasons, or they just really enjoy the killer's power, or maybe voice lines now. I know I really enjoy a lot of the killers, especially the unknown. I really love all those voice lines. It's really cool. If a killer is loading in and not engaging in normal gameplay, where they're doing something to where they are, like slugging the entire team right off the bat. I've seen some of you guys commenting on my other videos about that. I do play survivor, but just not as much as killer. So I guess that's the reason that I don't really see the slugging thing happen as much as you guys have let me know. But that is, I would say, I would agree with you guys that that's not normal gameplay, and I would think that's kind of past playing to win. That's kind of like just not even being, I mean, I guess you could say that's playing to win, but that's not even like, to me, that's not as fun. Now, we all know if you've played killer, sometimes you have to slug to make sure that you get certain things done. That's obvious. I mean, slugging without the intention of hooking. You're just gonna stand over everybody's body at the end, when everybody's down. Granted, no one has unbreakable, and just being unfun, just letting everybody bleed out. There was no objective. You just kind of wanted to do that. That's kind of just being a bit of a meanie, I guess. Like I've said before in a previous video, it really is a video game, when we're wanting to try and relax and have a good time with our friends, or total strangers. I don't think, anyone should be at fault for, wanting to play the game the way they want to play it. But with that, I also think there also can't really be both. There also can't be a sense of, I need the other side to play a certain way so that I have fun. I think that is kind of a disconnect as well. Say, because I've had this happen sometimes, like say, you're playing killer and you're just trying to get better with a killer, you're trying to gain some blood points, you're trying to knock out some challenges, and you just want to play a normal match. And then when you spawn in, the other side clearly is not really wanting to play for real. Anyone who's played killer knows that feeling of like, dang, I don't want to be a jerk, but I kind of don't want to just like stand around. You know how sometimes you load in and they kind of want to just point at you or they want to farm or something like that. Sometimes you don't really feel like doing that. You just kind of want to play a normal match. I know I've had that happen a lot, where you spawn in and clearly the other side, they don't really want to play normally. They're not like being toxic or anything. They just kind of don't want to do the regular chase thing, and so, you make that moment where you're like, you know what, all right, I'm just going to go ahead and down you and hook you. I really don't want to do this right now. I just want to play a normal match. And then sometimes you may get a mean in-game chat, with that. And then that's, that's obviously a different thing when it's like, well, I don't think, either side should be responsible for the other side's fun. Within reason though, because what I also mean by that is, yeah, I'm not going to do things to intentionally jeopardize your fun. I'm not gonna do that. Not me personally. I'm gonna, give you some chance to breathe and let you, go get your heals and, go get back on gens or whatnot. And I think so with little things like that. Yeah, I'm gonna play in a fair way is what I mean to say. But anyway, to wrap it up with playing to win, me personally, if I'm playing Survivor and, obviously, and as I've said before on the channel, I am not the best in chase. So if a killer kind of singles me out because they can see that I'm not the best in chase, they don't necessarily tunnel me, but they know that when they see me, okay, I know I can get him because I know I can get him. I'm not mad at that killer for that. You know what I mean? So we all play differently. I don't really think playing to win should be looked at as a negative thing, not in my opinion. Of course, we can have a health, as I always say, we can have a healthy debate in the comments. It is you versus the other team, so do what you got to do. As long as you're doing it within reason, you're not doing something like ridiculous or mean, like I said before with that like slugging and then just looking at everybody bleed out for the rest of the match. That's not fun. That's not, but of course that's like a different conversation, I would think, honestly. But anyway, so moving on. So the thing about sweating is I think that does correlate to playing to win. I kind of feel like the sweating thing is probably overused or almost used inaccurately sometimes. I mean, unless you're not engaging in normal gameplay, that'd be like if you're playing a fighting game and you pick your best character trying to beat your friend, or not even your friend, or just anybody, and you pick your best character because you want to win, and then you win, and then your friend is like, oh man, you trying hard, man, you being sweaty and everything. I mean, isn't that the goal? I don't know. I mean, that's one that I don't want to say I'm on the fence with that one, because not really. I just kind of, I don't know. I feel like there probably should be a different term. Like sweating is kind of like, yeah, I'm trying to win. We are playing a competitive game in theory, so yeah, I'm trying to win. Now, unless we're looking at sweating like you're going back into what I was saying, where you're not really engaging in normal gameplay because you're trying to win. Now, if we're talking about it from that standpoint, then yeah, I can see that that's a different type of thing. But like I said, I kind of feel like that should be a different word. I don't know. I haven't really gotten behind the whole sweaty term thing. I don't know. I guess because whenever I hear it, I kind of hear it in this and this is just me personally. Maybe you guys will let me know some stories that you've seen, and when you said, oh, this was a sweaty player, and then I can obviously have another point of view. But for me, like I've kind of seen it in places where it's like, kind of like, well, yeah, I mean, Of course they weren't gonna just let you just stand there and heal, like, or of course they weren't gonna just, or even from the other standpoint, like, yeah, of course they're gonna body block their friend. They're trying to have their friend escape, you know. So I don't know. That's just me. Maybe I'm looking at it a little too deeply. You guys let me know. But then lastly, I just want to touch on fun. You know, what's fun to you? I know we've kind of already gone over that a little bit for today, but all of these things, you know, in this game that we clearly care so much about, it's about fun. You know, if you're having a good time with your friends escaping, and you're having a good time as killer playing your favorite, you know, horror movie icon or video game killer icon, but if you're still having fun and you're not having fun at the expense of others, then I think that's the most important thing, right? I mean, you know, because I've had games where as killer, like I said a million times, I'm a killer main. I've had games as killer where I didn't, you know, sacrifice everyone, or I didn't get everyone, but it was a fun match, you know, where all the survivors gave me a run for my money, and you know, or I got a few of them, or they narrowly escaped, you know. And then what I try and do, I don't really talk a lot in in-game chat, but I do, you know, give GGs. You know, I'm not gonna do the whole back and forth. I definitely give props. So it's fun, you know, like when, you know, survivors, you know, kind of gave me a hard time, and I'm like, you know, you guys were great. You know, you guys had did a very good job of escaping, and your maneuvering and your pathing, and yeah, and then it's just like a friendly gamer dialogue, you know. It's because, like, it goes back to the fun part. You know, I don't have to get 4 kills for me to enjoy the match. You know, I don't have to get 3 kills for me to enjoy the match. Sometimes you don't have to get any kills to enjoy the match. You know, it's about your time during, you know. And obviously the same thing with survivors, where, you know, you don't have to escape. You know, it's and I'm sure you guys already know that. You know, it's about, you know, the fun that you're having during. I think that, you know, the whole competition thing, the competition dialogue is that, yes, this game is competitive, but it's not the same type of competitive. It's a little more, you know, well, not a little more, it's a lot more emphasis on the theme and the vibe and the atmosphere and the characters and your cool cosmetics and everything. You know, it's all of those things. But I think at the end of the day, I think to say that the game is in no way competitive, I think is a little bit of a stretch, when at the core of the game, you know, especially like, I mean, I could even talk about like the tutorial tells you, like, you know, your job is to escape, your job is to make sure they don't escape. You know, if we're just talking about just that, no, it's a competitive game, you know, but it's a competitive game with more of an emphasis on teamwork and strategy. And, you know, that's kind of why I personally have played this game for all these years, because it's like an endless chess match, or at least that's when I enjoy it the most. You know, like when it's, I bring my loadout, they bring their loadout, you don't know what each other has, and we're trying to outsmart each other. You know, we're trying to outwit, outfox, we're trying to outplay, or you're trying to get away from me, I'm trying to catch up to you. And that's when I think this game is the most fun. You know, when you're, well, it's fun in a lot of ways, but I think that's when I have a lot of fun myself, when it's that back and forth, you know, when it's that chess match. But of course, that's just me, you know, that's just my opinion. Greatly look forward to what you guys think. Do you think the game is competitive? Do you think, no, it's not competitive at all? It's not competitive at all because of this? You know, let me know and we'll talk about it. As I always say, you know, I like to see, you know, healthy conversations in the comment section, you know, with everyone, you know, obviously respecting each other's opinions and everything, and just talking about why, you know, we feel a certain way. But that's gonna do it for today. Appreciate each and every one of you for stopping by. If you're new here, welcome. If you're returning, welcome back. And with that, as always, stay safe, and I will see you in the fog. Oh, I almost forgot to go over the Skull Merchant comment. So the thing about Skull Merchant is